Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Trend Report podcast. I'm glad you're here for another conversation, but this time it's just me, no guests this week. And really, the reason that I wanted to have the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you today was to welcome you to episode 50. It is time to celebrate. We made it to 50 episodes, and you are such a big part of that. And I'm really excited that you've been here with me along this journey. You know, this is a huge accomplishment. And you made this possible. And, you know, we're kind of at that stage in podcasting, and I'm going to share some statistics in a few minutes, but we're at that stage where most podcasters and most shows actually drop off. This is the point that people get what's called pod fade, and they realize how much work is involved with doing a podcast, and they drop off of it. And so this is a really important milestone for me and for the Trend Report, and honestly, for all of you guys who have been along this journey with me. So, you know, the purpose of today's show is to really thank you for all you're doing, to share some insights on the podcast and on the show, and a few things that I've learned over the last year as I've been doing the Trend Report. Because April the 1st was actually 1 year from the time we dropped our first episode. So April's a big month for us as it relates to the number of episodes and being a full year in. But before I go any further, I want to just take a minute and give a big shout out to a few people whom you likely don't know that work behind the scenes to make the Trend Report possible each and every week. So I'd like to thank Kayla, my podcast editor. She just makes my life so easy with all the amazing stuff that she does. Everything that you see from us, Kayla is producing and making it happen, editing the audio, getting out all the ums and the ahs, correcting all the mishaps that I actually do. Maybe one day we'll do a bloopers reel. It'd be kind of funny, actually. She also creates our website page and our show notes and all those great things, the audiograms that you see posted on social media. So Kayla, thank you for all that you do to support me and the podcast. I'd also like to give a big shout out to my executive administrative assistant, Miss Jacey. She is off the charts amazing. And Jacey makes sure that everything gets done when it's supposed to get done and that everything gets published. So Jacey, I appreciate all that you do. Jamie-Clare, our marketing team member, does a great job at making us look good, making me look good, making sure the graphics are in alignment with our brand. Our web pages look the way they do because of Jamie-Clare and all of her hard work. And then I'd also like to give out a shout out to our newest team member, Tyler. And Tyler is actually the guy that is responsible for YouTube. If you didn't know, we have a YouTube channel. We actually do. We just started it a few weeks ago. We just have started talking about it. The YouTube channel is called the Trend Report Podcast. You can find us out there. Basically, the YouTube channel is where we post the long form video content of me interviewing the guests. So you can, if you're interested in the video, and so that's something that you like, you can go out to YouTube and watch it. We also post a couple of short clips on my YouTube channel, which is Sid Meadows. So you can go to both channels and see snippets, and then the Trend Report channel and see the long form. And so Tyler, thank you for making YouTube work for us and getting all the videos out and up there. I appreciate you, man. You know, because without you guys, none of this would be possible. So I really, really appreciate you. So let's jump into a few things and some stats about podcasts that I think are important to share with you. You know, podcasts are really a great way to communicate with your audience, with your customers, with potential customers, with your team members, and more. There's just so much amazing information that can be provided on this platform. And honestly, I'll tell you, if you've ever thought about doing one, do it. You know, it was on my to-do list for a really long time that I wanted to do a podcast, and I just kept putting it off and putting it off. I have to tell you, it's one of the best business decisions that I've ever made. Not only is it a great platform, it is a tremendous amount of fun, and I really enjoy doing it. I enjoy bringing the episodes to you and sharing insights about our industry, and hopefully giving you some tips and tricks and information that help you not only in your personal life, in your business life, but also in your career. So hopefully you're getting some good things out of it. So another thing I'd like to share with you is a few statistics about podcasts and why episode 50 is actually so important. So I got all these statistics, by the way. If you're interested in stats and you want to see them, I got these stats from the podcast host, and their website is thepodcasthost.com. We'll drop that in the show notes too, in case you want to link to it and go read the statistics. But Apple Podcasts report 1.96 million, so almost 2 million podcasts as of March 2021. Compare that to 2018, just 2 years ago, where there were only 550,000 podcasts on the platform. What that shows you is that the pandemic really got a lot of people talking on podcasts and sharing their information and their thoughts and their ideas through the Apple platform. And typically Apple is the leader, Spotify right behind them, but most of the platforms all carry the same. So we have to believe that these numbers are consistent across most platforms. Now, there are over 47 million episodes currently available. That's a lot of episodes. Now, in 2018, if we compare that, in 2018, there were only 18.5 million episodes. Again, I think this shows that the lockdown and the lack of in-person meetings and all that drove people to this platform to share their information with their audiences and their customers. So 59% of podcasts were active as of December 2020. What does active mean? So active means that they've launched an episode or a show, if you will, in the past 90 days. Now that number has dropped significantly to 37% in March 2021. So again, from December 2020 to March 2021, we saw the number of episodes drop, which is an indication that a lot of podcasters are experiencing pod fade. Currently, 57% of people in the US have listened to a podcast at least once, which is up from 55% in 2020. So people are listening more. And podcast fans, people like me, who are not just a podcaster, but also avid fans of podcasts, we consume 8 episodes per week on average. Now, because pod fade is real and so many people start dropping off around this time frame, I thought I'd share with you a little bit about where we stood and what some of our motivation is to move forward. According to this, according to this article that I'm referencing, we're in the top 10% of all podcasts because we average 300 downloads per episode. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually is a lot. And we're working really hard to keep that growing. And with your support, we hopefully will get to really big numbers. But those 300 downloads on average put us in the top 10% of all podcasts. The measurement for that is 244 downloads. And this is over a 7-day period. So again, I'm going to be a big shout out. And I'm going to say thank you for downloading the episodes and engaging in the content. Now, as of today, because I think this is an interesting stat, we have over 7,000 total downloads, which is absolutely amazing given what we're doing and the niche community that we talk to. So again, thank you for all that. And another statistic that I think is really, really interesting is our podcast has been downloaded in 21 countries. Now, when I talked about the downloads for the podcast in January, when I did my first episode of the year, we were in 19 countries. So now we've expanded to 21 countries, which is great. Now, obviously the US leads the way with that. And then right behind that is Europe, because they do it by continents. So Europe is right behind that. So I'm really excited about the growth of the podcast and where we're headed. And so now I want to take just a few minutes and share some show insights from you or with you. Publishing 50 episodes is no small feat. I mean, it takes a lot of time and coordination to make all of this happen, more so than I ever realized that it would. And if we're going to stay on pace with what we're doing, which is 1 episode a week every Monday throughout 2021, that will put us at 86 episodes. Again, that pushes us far ahead of the average podcaster that's only doing less than 50. And so we're staying true to that 1 per week over the course of 2021. And we're going to keep doing that predominantly because I really enjoy podcasting, but it's a lot of work behind the scenes. And we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. So be sure to stay tuned. If we're not connected on LinkedIn and Instagram, I'd love for you to hang out with me over there because we do post about the podcast there. And if you're not on our emailing list, I'd love you to head over to my website. We'll drop all these links in the show notes. Join our mailing list. We send out a Monday email telling you about the podcast, who's the guest, and kind of what the conversation is that day. But I've got to tell you, I love all the interviews that we've done this year. They have been so much fun. And I've had the opportunity to meet some amazing people and make some really great connections and some new friends. And it's hard to pick a favorite out of any of these, but one of the highlights that comes up to me is Kabibi Springs on episode 38. And what a great conversation we had and how that's turned into a really fun relationship and a great friendship. And, I really appreciate all that she shared. So that's just one example. I've also learned about so many things that I never thought that I would be interested in, much less learn anything about. And a couple of examples of that are like the history that Jennifer and Jeff on episode 36 provided about the history of Darran and how Darran got started and how they took it from dad's company to their company. It was such great information in that. And I learned so much about Darran, even though I've known who they are for many, many years. That one episode, I learned so much. Probably one of the most shocking things I learned was about augmented reality when Boaz came on from Simply Augmented at episode 43 and really shared his insights about augmented reality and how it's different from virtual reality. That's episode 43. It's off the charts because I didn't know anything about that. The other thing is, one of my favorite components of the podcast, and I hope that you're enjoying this too, is the series, the CEO Chat, where I have the opportunity to interview CEOs within our industry. And I love just how those are going and what they're sharing, how they're engaging in the conversation, and honestly, the questions that they're answering and giving you and me a little bit of a glimpse into how they run their business, their thoughts in our industry, how things are changing, and hopefully really educating you about what it's like to be a CEO and what they're doing to make their company successful. And these range from my former boss, Bruce Platzman at AIS, to Chris Evanstad, the CEO at Nevers, to Bryce Stuckenschneider at Lofwall, Ozzie Nelson with Nelson Worldwide, Boaz, and the list goes on. And I'm excited to continue to bring you that series because I think that's a really important conversation. So hang in there as we continue with our CEO chats coming soon. Now, I'm often asked, what's my favorite episode? And I ask people all the time, what's their favorite episode? And I get a variety of different answers. And I can't pick a favorite episode because I like them all. Now, some of the earlier ones when I was just getting started and some of the ones where it's just me talking aren't my favorite. So rather than tell you what my favorite one is and try to single one out, I thought I would give you in descending order the most downloaded episodes, the top 5 most downloaded episodes that we have. So this is descending order. So coming in at number 5 is episode 41 with Brandy Suzowitz of Clear Office. Number 4 is episode 47 with Jonathan Webb of KI. Number 3 is episode 39, the CEO Chat series with Bruce Platzman of AIS. Number 2 is episode 40 with Paul Holland and the future of the office furniture industry, Paul's a principal at Solomon Coyle. And then coming in at number 1 is episode number 37 with Julie Dignan and her team at CBRE and the Furniture Advisory Services Group. They're all great episodes. It's hard for me to choose any one favorite, but I think what this says about the top 5 episodes is we've got some really good guests that have been coming on. We've been doing some really good content for you. And we've also amped up our marketing of the podcast. So it's no surprise to me that the top 5 episodes are in 2021 and in the last 3 months, or 3.5 months. So I'm excited about where these are headed and what's happening. And my hope is that you find our content beneficial to you, to your business, and to your career and your life. And I'd love to know, honestly, because I'm not going to answer the question and I ask people all the time. So I want to ask you guys the question. What's your favorite podcast episode? And tell me what it is that you liked about it or how it helped you. So here's my challenge. Go out to whichever platform you do use, screenshot it, and then head over to Instagram and post it on your stories and tag me and let me know what was your favorite episode and what it was you liked about it. And then I'll post it on my story as well. And so on Instagram, which the link's down below, but on Instagram, you can find me at Coach Sid Meadows. So we can have a lot of fun with this. Go out there and share your favorite episode. I'd love to hear what you guys think about which episodes. I'd kind of love to see a kind of an informal poll about what our listeners think are their favorite episodes. So go join the fun on Instagram. Okay. So now I wanted to take a couple of minutes and share a few things that I've learned this year. And, this is really a great question. What have I learned this year? Or even what have I learned today? I write a lot about this as well for my column of the Business of Furniture magazine. But, I'm an avid learner. You guys have all heard me talk about that. And some of the things I've learned this year are just off the charts good. And so I had a real struggle trying to narrow down the three things that I think were the most impactful as a learning perspective to me this year. And I'm talking since January. So number one, I absolutely love being a podcaster. I could have never imagined that I would have a podcast. I would be on this platform and I'd be sharing my voice and my ideas with you, much less bringing guests to you. But wow, what an amazing journey this has been. Again, this is all because of you guys. So thank you very much again for joining in, for listening and being part of the conversation. That's my number one learning is I love being a podcaster. Number two, especially as we start to emerge out of COVID, this has really, really been impactful to me, which is understanding the importance of gratitude. Now more than ever, looking inside and searching for things to be grateful for and saying them out loud is so important. Starting your day with gratitude, starting a meeting or just starting out with gratitude changes the entire conversation. And honestly, it positively impacts your mindset, which changes the energy at which you show up and can have the power to change the energy of a meeting or a conversation that you're in. This is really a game changer. I actually, when I have group sessions, I do group coaching sessions or I do team facilitations. I start them out with everybody going around the room and sharing what they're grateful for, but I have rules. So share what you're grateful for, but the rules are you can't say generically my family, my friends, or my health, because those are very generic that everybody is grateful for the most part. So I challenge people to look a little bit deeper inside and be really, really specific about what it is they're grateful for. So you could say, I'm grateful for my health, but narrow it down and be more specific that I'm grateful that I was able to get outside and exercise today because it helps me feel better and it makes me a better person. Something like that, right? Family, rather than say I'm grateful for my family, say something like I'm grateful for my grandmother who brought me homemade biscuits, the Southerner in me coming out. My grandmother who brought me homemade biscuits this morning and really helped to get my day off to a great start. There's so much in the world for us to be grateful for. Dig a little bit deeper, look a little closer inside and find the things that are important and share them, even if you only share them with yourself. But I'm telling you, if you start a minute of gratitude, when you start meetings, watch how the meetings transform and watch how the energy in the room becomes a lot better. The third one is the importance of hiring a coach or having a coach, hiring a coach and having a coach. And I'm not just saying this because I am a coach and because I make a majority of my living, sorry, my Southern accent there. I'm not saying this because I am a coach and because the majority of my income comes from coaching. I'm saying this as a client. I'm saying this as someone who has a coach, who is invested in a coach and who works with the coach on a regular basis. And she's awesome. And the things that she's helped me do and helped me work through and gain clarity on through the course of this year is off the charts good. So coach, if you're listening to this, I appreciate you. but I can't underscore the importance of having a coach at what it's done for me and how it's really, really helped me. So my question for you today is, what have you learned this year? Do you think about that? Do you think about even narrowing it down to what have I learned today? It's a great practice because every day we have the gift, if we're open to it, to learn something from the people around us or the situations that we're put in, but we have to be open to it. So it's a great journaling question. If you're a journaler, like I am, and like I encourage people to do, a great journal question is, what did I learn today? And I think that if you do that and you look back from time to time, you're going to realize all the amazing things that you're learning in your life and your career. So now I want to jump to a few of my favorite things. I have to thank a fellow podcaster, Mike Swaggart, for this. I thought this is a great idea. I am a guest. I will be a guest, upcoming guest on Mike's podcast, the Office Marketing Podcast, coming soon. We'll be sure to post it out there when it goes live. But while Mike and I were chatting, he mentioned that a great episode to do was my favorite things. And I thought, that's really cool. So I want to share a little bit about me and some of the things that are my favorite things with you as we start to wrap up today's episode. So my favorite person to follow. Ooh, this was a hard one because I follow a lot of people and it's a really great question, but I struggled with answering it and I could not come up with just one. I came up with two. So, and these are just a couple of my favorites. I could probably have a list of 10 people on this because I do follow a lot of people, but I would say in no particular order, Simon Sinek. He's an author, wrote Start With Why, The Infinite Game, Leaders Eat Last. Those are all great books. Simon puts out a lot of great content. The other one, recently discovered Adam Grant. He's an author and he wrote a book that I'm currently reading called Think Again. You should read it too. It's a great book. I've had the opportunity to hear him speak on Clubhouse and a few other places. So those are two of the people that I'm following, but I could probably give you a list of 10 or more. Favorite podcast. Wow, because I do listen to a lot of podcasts, this was also really hard for me to narrow down. I did not pick just one. I picked two. And I've referenced these guys a couple of times, I think, in either my writing or on the show. There are two that I really like. The first one is At the Table with Patrick Lencioni. Patrick is a consultant. He owns a business called The Table Group, and he talks a lot about leadership and a lot about the qualities of leadership and how you can lead a company. He's written 7 or 8 books and very, very insightful. And his podcasts are super easy to listen to and fun and engaging. So At the Table with Patrick Lencioni. And we'll drop the link to his show in the show notes as well. And the next one that I really, really like, because I'm part of this community, is Mind Your Business with James Wedmore. Now, this is for entrepreneurs. Mind Your Business podcast, focused on entrepreneurs, focused on people that create courses or sell products online. I'm a member of James's group called Business by Design, and very insightful. If you're an entrepreneur or you're interested in doing online content or building a business online, James Wedmore is probably the leader in this space. And his podcasts are a lot of fun and packed with amazing information. Again, we'll drop it in the show notes so that you can go listen to it. So my two favorite podcasts, At the Table and the Mind Your Business podcast. Favorite book. Okay. I'm on a mission to read like 15 books this year, and I read 13 last year and 13 the year before. So I've spent way too much time reading, but I really love it. 10 minutes a day is my tip. I read for 10 minutes a day, every day. I'm currently reading 3 books at the same time. I'm also actually hosting a room on Clubhouse where we're going through a John Maxwell book, chapter by chapter, called Everyone Communicates, But Few Connect, where we're talking about the power of communication, the power of connecting. And it's a really, really insightful conversation that I'm co-hosting with my friend Troy Holt, who I also met on Clubhouse. And Troy is a John Maxwell certified coach. So, finding a book, just one book, was really hard, but I have 3. The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Now, these are books that I recommend how I narrow this down is these are the books that I recommend the most. So The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, which is about how to transform your day before 8 a.m. with a morning routine, which is off the charts good. The next one is Gap Selling by Keenan. I'm a huge fan of Keenan and the gap selling methodology. It's an awesome book. However, especially of those of you that sell office furniture, will find that this book challenges you every step of the way and challenges your thinking about the way you've been doing things. And to tag on to Adam Grant's book, it's time to think again. And gap selling is something that I think if you embrace the methodology of this platform and this modality of selling, it could literally change your game and help you sell a lot more product by changing your focus. And then the last book, I read this book last year. It's probably one of the most impactful books I've ever read. I read it and listened to it at the same time. It was actually a little difficult in places to listen to. I've had a couple of people that I've recommended it to reach out and say, wow, this is tough. But once you get through some of the tough parts, what an amazing book. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Navy SEAL, tells a story of his life and tells the power of mindset and how with the right mindset, you can overcome anything. And what this man has overcome in his life is just astonishing. And if you're looking for some motivation, you don't mind a few explicitives in listening to his story, I highly encourage that you read Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Hopefully it'll impact you as much as it impacted me. So the next one, software. What's my favorite software? I'm using a lot of software these days. I have a lot of things that I use, but the one that I'm really fond of right now that I'm using a lot and I'm still discovering how to use it is a software called MURAL. It's actually a website, mural.com. You sign up to become a member, if you will. And it's actually a collaboration whiteboard tool. And I'm doing a lot of facilitation right now and a lot of team gatherings and team meetings. And we needed a whiteboard tool. I had another consultant friend introduce me to MURAL, and it's off the charts good. So I'm playing around with it, still learning it. So I'm kind of geeking out on MURAL right now. Who would ever thought I'd be geeking out on software about collaboration, but there you have it. Life changes and takes you places if you will let it. And so that's pretty cool. And then the next one, my favorite new thing. If you haven't guessed it already, Clubhouse. I love Clubhouse. I could literally I could do a whole podcast on Clubhouse. In fact, I might bring some of my Clubhouse friends onto the podcast. You know, this app hit at the right time for many different reasons. And it is an unbelievable medium for connecting with people, talking to people, sharing your insights, and learning. It is just, it's an audio only platform. I'm sure if you haven't heard about it, it is an audio only platform where you go into a room and you have conversations, whatever the room topic is about. I could literally spend all day on Clubhouse. Some of my friends would tell you that I do spend all day on Clubhouse. I've met some amazing people, made some amazing new friends. My LinkedIn connections are off the chart because of Clubhouse. And, you know, it's just been a great thing for me and something that has really helped me over I've been only been on since January 6th. So, I mean, it's unbelievable how good this thing is. Now, if you're not on Clubhouse and you have an iPhone and you would like an invitation because it's invitation only, shoot me a message. I've got some invitations and I'm happy to invite you to join us on Clubhouse and come join the conversation. So we also have a club on Clubhouse called the Contract Interiors Club. There are 4 of us that have come together as moderators, and we're working really hard to build out a platform that is providing relevant, good information with our community on this app. And so we host rooms almost daily. We have rooms about vertical markets, about sales strategies, about rep life. We have networking events. We have special guests that come on board. And our community is starting to actually come onto this app. And I'm excited for the conversations that we're going to be able to have on Clubhouse. And here's the thing I'm going to tell you about Clubhouse. Whether you believe it or not, maybe you think it's just another social media app and another waste of time or a time sucker, drainer, whatever you want to call it, your customers are on Clubhouse. Your influencers are on Clubhouse. People that can specify your furniture are on Clubhouse. I've met interior designers from all around the world. I've had the opportunity to be in rooms and have conversations with CEOs of companies, VPs of marketing of company. Corporate real estate is all over the app. Interior design is all over the app. Office furniture is starting to get all over the app. It is a great place for you to go to discover new connections, potential new clients, and to learn a lot. Now, I put myself on a schedule. In addition to the rooms I host, I have certain rooms that I attend on a regular basis. And one of them is the LinkedIn Club. Give a shout out to all my friends in the LinkedIn Club. Every day at 1 o'clock Central Time is the LinkedIn Club. It totally transformed my LinkedIn, how I'm showing up, what my profile looks like, what the information says about me. And there's tons of rooms about LinkedIn. The other place I hang out is on podcast shows, and I listen in, and I've learned a tremendous amount about podcasts. So I give a shout out to my friends at RTP, Real Talk Podcasting, that host multiple shows a day. But my favorite one is the Morning Drive. It's early in the morning, actually 5:30 my time, with a group of people that are off the charts from around the world, literally from around the world, that are on this show or on this episode, not even episode, or on this in this room chatting. And it's just amazing about what you can learn. So now I want to ask you, what are a few of your favorite things? And how do you highlight them? How do you bring them up? How do you recognize the things that bring you joy in your life and your career? I think it's another great question to ask yourself, is what brings you joy? And the things that I've listed all bring me a tremendous amount of excitement and joy, and really help to make my day a great day every day. And so as we wrap up today, I wanted to again say thank you for all that you're doing as a listener, for being here, for engaging it, for the reviews that you've given us, for the ratings you've given us. None of this would be possible without you. Thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining the conversation. And we look forward to seeing you next week as we have another guest that we will be interviewing, and we'll be back on track. To all of you, thank you so much. Take care.